Hey, what's up? This is Venger Satanis, coming live from the inside of my car. See? I'm stationary, I'm just parked, so I can do a quick video before I go home. And I just finished watching the fourth episode of Inappropriate Characters, our RPG talk show with myself, RPG Pundit, and Grim Jim Desbaro. And it was a really good episode. We had special guest star Job on there. So listen to him, and mostly the other guys asked questions, and I had to leave early. But I participated a little bit in the beginning, and then I watched it. And hopefully episodes from here on out, I'll be more present for. But I did want to touch on one topic that was discussed, which is magic and occultism in role-playing games. I've been very much into that kind of thing from, since the beginning, really. I mean, that's my attraction to dark things and magic and fantasy and stuff like that. It's always been with me, which is probably one of the reasons why, from such a young age, at like 10, I got into Dungeons and Dragons. And even before that, I was into dragons and dungeons and, monsters and everything else. It just kind of all coalesced into one with Dungeons and Dragons, discovering that with the Magenta box back in like 1984 or something like that. So, but I'm very much a proponent of chaos magic, which is unlike the pundit and unlike a lot of real world occultists. And magic to me is an individual's will kind of exerted and pressed up against the universe, the universal membrane, if you will, and interacting with that. And maybe it's my anti-authoritarian nature, but I love the sheer chaos and just freewheeling nature of things and of magic. And that's why magic systems in fantasy role-playing games, for me, it's much more fun to just do a free-form, nebulous kind of like, oh, well, you're a sorcerer and you want to cast a spell, like, describe what you want to do and how you're doing it, and then roll. And then just describe, from your description come the effects, and based on the roll, how successful it is. And not only do I like that creatively, and it eases the game designer. You don't have to come up with a list of spells and like lesser light and greater light and light with the night lights and blue light. You don't have to come up with a list of like all these things. It puts the creativity, the burden, on the player, on the sorcerer himself. Trying to describe a spell, trying to make the magic happen. And I think that's an easier way to do it design-wise. But also, it just makes sense that instead of a specific formula to create a specific effect, magic in the real world works more like, at least for me, works more like, well, I have a desired outcome, and I'm going to, work my will on the universe, and through supernatural forces aiding me that I call upon, it has this kind of effect, which is also somewhat random, just like a die roll. You don't know, just because you perform a destruction ritual, it doesn't necessarily mean that person A, your target, is going to be destroyed at this time and in this manner. You're just kind of like nudging events, one way or another. It's not like casting a fireball or something like that. So that's very much a chaos magic kind of thing. And so that's why I like that, and that's why I design games usually with that. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people want, like, oh, well, I want the name of the spell and the level it's for, and I want to read all these effects and the parameters and the limitations and, like, what's the radius of this, and, you know, material components. And that's awesome if people like that. And I can see the benefit of that too. But ideally, that's not how I like to present magic, and that's not how I think magic works in the real world. I've done pretty well using sorcery in my own real life, and I encourage others to study occultism, especially chaos magic. Email me if you want a list of authors and such. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video and Inappropriate Characters number 4, and you continue to watch. Seek out our Patreon thing if you want to try to support us. And yeah, catch you next time.